All right, good morning. How is everybody doing today? Hope you're all having a great day. Um, so again, I'm the kind of guy that will always say tomorrow is promised to nobody. I live one day at a time. I've been saying that for years. So that's why I'm always looking just a matter of a span of days. That's why it's always for me. It's why it's always hard for me to look ahead to certain time, like the blue moon that's at the end of the month. I said, 2 weeks ago, we still might have to get to that point. Don't know. I don't think so. Based on the events that happened in China, we're all the way back. And when I said things were crazy back in those days, it was the P Diddy parties. It was all that all over again. Okay, so again, like I said, same thing over and over again. Um, but going back to the birth of the twins, right? This grueling birth. Okay, so the twins, Artemis and Apollo. So again, we we view that as the Spartans and all this stuff. This imagery they want to put in our head. So in a video I did, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, I talked about how energy that comes out of the wall, it doesn't. And this is what's funny about all these people that want to say the true God's name is Yeshua and gibberish words and blah blah. No, it's just energy. Period. Nikola Tesla was correct. If you want to understand the mysteries of the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. And so part of this also goes to the power you give away that you are part of. So if God gave you life, let's say, and again, going back to energy, we all come from the same place. So not only is that why Satan was cast to earth to correct everything. That's why he couldn't be destroyed. The circle of life. You remember? Okay. Back in the 70s, this was a big thing. I think Coca-Cola did a thing, and one of them was they all joined hands. They wanted to do this big joining hands across the nation, blah, blah, blah. Going back to like a barrel of monkeys. Remember that little toy? But the circle of life. Okay, that's again, it goes back to the killing. It goes back to destroying. The wars that come about from uprising powers taking on established great powers, right? The Great War in Heaven, an established great power trying to be taken over by the lesser, right? Is what it is. So let's go back to Artemis and Apollo. And I've said that the names and stuff are meaningful, but they're not. But Artemis begins with an A. Apollo begins with an A. It's the beginning of the alphabet. It's like the alpha and the omega, the beginning. So that would be the birthing of the planets, actually. That's going from the androgynous, doesn't identify as anything, right? No name. It's just energy, consciousness. And that was the split right there initially occurred in the planets, male and female, Artemis and Apollo, I think. And the reason why I mentioned that I don't look further than a couple days ahead, and one of the, because right now we're still in this time, right, of the birth, the grueling birth. Don't know if those days will be shortened. Circumcising the child could be actually a circumcision birth. That's probably what was done before. So it was again, like I said, our birth was cut short. So our birth coming out of here may be cut short from the full 9 days. Because this weekend is also looking pretty big as far as I mentioned in a video before about how Donald Trump's doing that rededication ceremony this weekend, because he's already been with China. So they've already had, the discussion about kidnapping the woman or however that went down. Nobody knows. Even I've said before, the more I learn about all this, it just proves the less that I know about the whole thing, because way more went on here than even what I see. So it is what it is. But I think the general theme of, we got touched, just like AC/DC, touched too much. So this weekend, Sunday going into Monday, could be a big deal too, because I just saw on the news where some people are reporting. I was asked in one of the comments if I'm a plant or a shell. My answer down there was, go look at all these people that have, thousands and tens of thousands of subscribers and all these numbers. And I just now, after years of doing videos, hit like the 500 sub mark. Believe me, if I was a plant or a shill or whatever, they would be promoting me just like Paul Begley over there. He sports his Masonic ring, and he's also a cousin to J.D. Vance. And we all know you don't become a president or get into any of that realm unless you come from a specific bloodline. Now, I'm not saying he's that, but I'm just an average common guy, plain and simple. I don't give my power away. I get to keep it. So that, that's part of enabling me, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how this works. I don't sit here and talk with spirits or whatever. Just like when I was told way back in 2010 that time was short. It wasn't an audio type thing that I could hear. It was just this sensation that passed over me, a wave of energy. Okay, and that's just like I've said a long time ago. Think about the radio in your car, even in your home. It has a radio dial, and you can move up and down the dial. So as you raise your energy, all those radio stations are playing all at the same time. Whatever you're tuned into is what you're listening to. And my radio dial is somewhere else. I don't know. I have no idea. But so we're still in a pretty good time for even this weekend. Oh, because what I've heard, going back to, the shills and whatnot, one of these people that gets tens of thousands of views, one of these prepper channels, they're talking about how war over there could resume as early as Monday. And I just saw a report where they said, another channel said, was it Fox News? I don't know. Trump's going to give the green light on Monday. So with him having the rededication ceremony, I do believe tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, on the 17th, Monday could be a good day too. So chin up. I appreciate all the wonderful, kind comments. Really, I do. I love all of you. And let's have a great day and just keep laughing. Bye-bye.